this have pushed them to fight the enemy. And furthermore, it is their part of heritage. We hear that the spirit mediums, they were consulting elders in the community that they should gather together and drive the enemy away, because their ancestors, they have been angered that the heritage they have left to the black majority was taken by a foreigner. Furthermore, it is a spiritual residence. For example, we've got Matonjeni Mount. They were now having game parks. And kwa anima game parks muka dzakutovharirwa dzakutokontrolwa. So they were now being restricted kuita zvavaimbogara vachita kudhara. Furthermore, farming was restricted in white farms and mines, and also they did not hear their culture was diluted. They need to embrace on their culture. Also, they were against police brutality. They were against segregation, whereby they were not allowed to move in towns. So now our question here says, this is our last question. So the question says, land was the main cause of the liberation struggle in Zimbabwe. How far do you agree? This is a typical question from Zimsec specimen paper 2018. So this question is trying to say in another word, what made the Second Chimurenga? When we are talking, many people, they don't know that what is being referred as the liberation struggle is also known as the Second Chimurenga. And most students, they fail to differentiate the difference between First Chimurenga and the Second Chimurenga. In section C, we find what we call the Second Chimurenga. The Second Chimurenga is what is being referred as the liberation struggle. Hondo yakazoita kuti Zimbabwe isvike pakuita independence muna 1980 ndo liberation struggle. First Chimurenga ndo ya 1896 to 1897. Zvakatosiyana, it's a total different war. First Chimurenga and the Second Chimurenga. So now this question demands candidates to reveal that land was the main cause of the First Chimurenga on the affirmative side. Then on the non-affirmative side, we review that there are other causes of the First Chimurenga. Saka here we have got the impact of land. We want to review the impact of land. Then here we've got other causes. Right. So what was why land became the main cause of the First Chimurenga? It was their source of wealth. What else, guys? Source of food. Heritage. What else? Spiritual residence. Should chimwe chachakakoshera land. Hunting grounds. Farming. Chimwe. Tinenya graves. Chimwe. Tinema issues religious symbolism. Saka, these are some of the reasons. These are not all reasons. So the reason why we can say that land was very important to an extent that the black majority wanted to partake the war because of it. It is because the land is their source of wealth. Because in African religious concept, we say land is prosperity. Prosperity is our land. So it means that by the fact that the colonial regime have taken land from them, it means that they were left in poverty. Why? Because vanga vasisina any source of income. Also, it is the source of food. Remember, we have said that when there was the Land Apportionment Act, the Africans, they were pushed to reserves and to Gwai and Shanghai reserves, and these areas they've got soils that were adjacent to the Kalahari Desert. It means that they could not acquire enough food to sustain their families. Hence, this have pushed them to fight the enemy. And furthermore, it is their part of heritage. We hear that the spirit mediums, they were consulting elders in the community that they should gather together and drive the enemy away, because their ancestors, they have been angered that the heritage they have left to the black majority was taken by a foreigner. Furthermore, it is a spiritual residence. For example, we've got Matonjeni Mountain, we've got Njelele, and these areas, they reside the spirits of our ancestors. But now they were now being restricted to go there and perform their rituals. So these have enlightened the ideology that they need to fight for the second Chimurenga, so that they could get spiritual freedom. And furthermore, Nyayema hunting grounds, they used it to hunt elephant for ivory, animals for meat and whatsoever. They were no longer practicing it, because instead of them practicing hunting, what was happening is that they were now having game parks. And game parks, so they were now being restricted kuita zvavaimbogara vachita kudhara. Furthermore, farming was restricted kuma Africans. They were no longer practicing farming, which was their mainstay. So they decided to fight for that. Furthermore, you know the belief system yatinayo isusu pachivanhu chedu chekuti makuva is a sacred thing. Do you know that? So some of them, they were being driven away kubva kumakuva na baba vavo nanandika. They need to fight for that, because these graves, they represent the spiritual authority upon their life. Vamwe vanoita magadziro, vanodzosa mudzimu mumusha, but hawakwanise kudzosa mudzimu mumusha iwe usina pekuviga munhu, vanhu vaivigwa kunge mhuka. Furthermore, religion, it is a religious symbol. Tine religious symbolism akawanda anoitwa on land. Andika akawandisa, munotoziva zvese zvekurupira mudzimu kudi zvoda land iripo. Andika then here we are now exploring other factors which have ignited the cause of the second Chimurenga, such as minerals. They need minerals. Vaida chichimwe, vaida zvakabva patina kugrupirwa ka, saka tokwanisa kungonyora cherwara togona ngoti other causes toti political. They need independence. And what else? Chimwe chavaida right to vote, right to constitution. What else? Chadiwa politics. Alright, tapedza toenda ku social. They were against forced labor. What else? Chichimwe chavaisada social culture, presentation. What else? Police brutality. What you should? Social. Police brutality. Vaisada. Chichimwe chavaisada ku social. Segregation. Cannot racial discrimination. Or racial discrimination. Then economically, totaura nyaya dzetaxation, vaisada kuti vaipay unfair tax. Chichimwe better paying jobs ava vasina, and vaidawo adequate health facilities zvese zvopinda. So chichimwe chavaida economically kuwanawo mabasa nekurespect. So ndoma reason acho in terms of independence, munoziva mese kuti they fought so that they can enjoy independence. Then they need the right to vote, because under the colonial rule they vote after 15 years, of which it was unfair, and they need a constitution which represents the black majority. Then forced labor is munoziva about that they were forced to work in white farms and mines, and also they did not their culture was diluted. They need to embrace on their culture. Also, they were against police brutality. They were against segregation, whereby they were not allowed to move in towns after 6 p.m. Furthermore, economically, they were against taxation. They were impeded upon high taxation. They were paying dog tax, cattle tax, hearty tax, whatsoever. It was something else. So concerning these questions, I serious yega question inouya apa. Pane mamwe ma questions anogona achuya achiti kana kuti the peasants played a major role in the Second Chimurenga discuss. Andika takutobata ma groups utama peasants akaite they provide food for them jibas, they provide protection, they joined vanhu vachipa hondo, they acted as spies, they joined mapungwe concept takazvita ndinyasi doing for the concept evanhu vari kuona online. Then tabva ipapo unogona kunzi marose ana mujiba iwo. Vana mujiba vedu isusu ndo vanopuhwa zita rekunzi the guerrillas. Guerrillas vakaita sezva ndakupatadza kai. Pana u zviya. Pana UE anika. So maguerrillas aya ndo army yedu isusu yemaZimbabwe. Ukaona pakanzi Rhodesian forces or Rhodesian army, zviri kureva army yema whites. Taurirana, isusu army iyi yainzi Rhodesia inyika yedu yeZimbabwe ichatongwa nevarungu. Saka anything in history that is said Rhodesian army, it's the army of the white settlers who were controlling Zimbabwe back then. But when we are talking about guerrillas, the role of the guerrillas, they fight the enemy, vakafighta enemy, they sacrifice their life, vachigara vari musango vachidi vachiranga. Right, then anonzi ma frontline states, question iyo iyi yepa number 12 inouya ine anonzi ma frontline states. Frontline states, they include Russia, they include China, they include Japan, they include chichimwe chandasiya vana Zambia, andika vana Mozambique, vana Ghana. Their roles in perpetuating the independence of Zimbabwe kana kuti ma foreign countries. Tauranaka, then auye vatonyora kuti aiwa maZimbabweans nema panouyawo role rema chiefs, role rema spirit mediums, and zvinobvunzwa you must have the knowledge to play around with any angle yauiwana nechi neSecond Chimurenga andika ndokupedza uko ameno kana pane vane zvekutaura mobvunza tapedza nezvazvo. Saka unofana kugona kuziva kuti tabva apa